From CNN, high tariffs give Trump less room for error in Iran. President Trump's high tariffs are set to spike inflation this summer, but a bigger threat looms if the Israel-Iran ceasefire fails. A breakdown could send oil prices soaring past $100 a barrel, pushing U.S. gas to $4.50 a gallon, a nightmare for the economy. Fears of Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz have eased, with odds dropping to 17%, but economists warn tariffs and oil shocks could be a double whammy. The Feds are in no rush to cut rates, and rising energy costs could reignite inflation, leaving Trump with little room for error. From Fox News, scandal-plagued former Governor Andrew Cuomo aims to pull off political comeback in the nation's biggest city. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo is fighting for New York City's mayoral nomination, aiming for a comeback after his 2021 resignation amid scandals. Facing progressive Zohran Mamdani, Cuomo touts his experience while critics slam his billionaire donors and past controversies. Mamdani's got big endorsements from AOC and Bernie Sanders, pushing progressive policies like free transit and tuition. With ranked choice voting and a heat wave possibly affecting turnout, this primary could shape the Democratic Party's future. From CBS News, Trump heads to NATO summit as Iran overshadows agenda. President Trump jets to NATO summit in the Netherlands, fresh off announcing an Israel-Iran ceasefire that's already shaky. Trump's pushing NATO allies to spend 5% of GDP on defense, a goal they've agreed to, but some say it's an empty promise. Russia's war on Ukraine is a top concern, but the U.S. dodges calling Russia NATO's main threat in the summit's statement. After U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear sites, Iran's limited response keeps tensions high, overshadowing Trump's summit plans. From the Associated Press, Minnesota lawmaker shot to death at home to lie in state at Capitol ahead of funeral. Former Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark will lie in state after a politically motivated killing. The couple was gunned down at home along with their dog in a targeted attack that also wounded another Democratic senator. Suspect Vance faces murder charges, with prosecutors saying he targeted dozens of Democrats across states. The public can pay respects Friday, with a funeral Saturday as Minnesota mourns this shocking loss. From The Guardian, J.D. Vance suggests Iran's uranium stockpile is still intact despite U.S. strikes. Vice President J.D. Vance claims Iran's 400-kilogram uranium stockpile remains intact despite U.S. strikes on nuclear sites. The U.S. bombed Iran's Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan sites, aiming to stop uranium enrichment, but the fuel may have been moved. UN inspectors haven't seen the stockpile since the war began, and Iran's not talking, raising fears it's still a threat. Experts warn unaccounted-for centrifuges mean Iran could still enrich uranium, making the U.S. mission far from over. From ABC News, Trump says both Israel and Iran have violated ceasefire. President Trump's furious, saying both Israel and Iran violated a ceasefire he announced after U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. Iran fired missiles at a U.S. base in Qatar, while Israel allegedly bombed Tehran's radar array, breaking the fragile truce. Trump warned Israel not to escalate after a call with Netanyahu, who claims Iran fired missiles first, a claim Tehran denies. Congress gets classified briefings today, demanding answers on why Trump struck Iran and how to keep the peace. And as always, thank you for the like, comment, and subscription.